Now, a staggering 2/3 of Brits are calling for Harry and Meghan to be stripped of their HRH titles.
Following the legal ruling, Prince Harry ran to the media, shock, and participated in a sit-down interview with the BBC, claiming he does not see a world where he could bring Meghan and the kids back to the UK.
I think it's going to happen. I think what's going to happen because the threat of William taking the titles away. Yeah. But I think once the titles get stripped, I think Harry's done.
It was supposed to be a heartfelt moment, raw, emotional, even redemptive. Instead, it became the internet's new favorite meme. Meghan Markle, trying to summon tears on a podcast, only managed to summon outrage. No visible tears, just a frozen face, awkward pauses, and what many are calling the worst acting performance since her Hallmark days. But this wasn't just a social media fail. It may have triggered something much deeper, something far more permanent, because right now, over 2/3 of Brits say it's time for Meghan and Harry to be stripped of their royal titles. And the palace? They're reportedly listening. But here's the twist. It wasn't just the fake tears that sparked this backlash. It was what came after. Meghan's HRH scandal, Harry's explosive BBC interview, and a quiet but growing war inside the royal family that may now be on the brink of open retaliation. Let's break it down. It all began with a podcast. Meghan appeared on the Jamie Kern-Lima show, marking her first guest spot in years. It should have been a soft launch, a chance to promote her new brand, sprinkle in some personal anecdotes, and maybe shift public opinion back in her favor. Instead, it turned into a PR meltdown. In a moment that seemed scripted for sympathy, Meghan spoke about motherhood and purpose, and then paused. Her voice trembled, her expression froze. She said she felt emotional, but there were no tears. None, the internet noticed. Fast clips began circulating with the caption, "Dry cry," "Oscars incoming," and "Where's the tear, Meghan?" Critics like Megyn Kelly didn't hold back. Even body language experts weighed in, suggesting the moment was deliberately manufactured. And yet, it was only the beginning. Days later, the backlash intensified when one detail from the podcast surfaced. Meghan had sent the host a gift basket. Sweet gesture, right? Except she signed the note, "From Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex." Cue the outrage. Because Meghan was stripped of her HRH status back in 2020. And while she's technically still a duchess, the use of Her Royal Highness is strictly off limits, especially in public-facing or commercial settings. This wasn't just a royal faux pas. It was a potential breach of the Sandringham Agreement, the very document that allowed Harry and Meghan to step back from royal duties. Royal insiders described it as calculated. Media outlets slammed her for clinging to titles she no longer owns. Worse still, multiple sources now claim Meghan continues to use the HRH title in private communications and corporate gifting. And if that wasn't enough to rile up the palace, Harry was about to pour gasoline on the fire, following a brutal, legal loss in his battle for UK police protection. Harry sat down with the BBC for what was meant to be a clarifying interview. Instead, it turned into an attack. Harry said he couldn't imagine ever feeling safe bringing his family back to the UK. Then came the Diana reference. He brought up his mother's tragic death and implied the same thing could happen to him unless the UK provided security. To many, it sounded like a threat, but to the palace, it sounded like accusation. Was Harry suggesting the monarchy couldn't or wouldn't protect him? Was he blaming the institution that raised him for his mother's death and predicting? His own one royal aide allegedly said, "This was not a cry for help. It was a loaded statement," and everyone heard it. The fallout was still unfolding when Meghan decided to make her next move. Just hours after Harry's BBC interview aired, Meghan posted a photo to Instagram. It was serene, calm, almost too calm. The image? Harry playing with their children in a sun-drenched backyard. No caption, just vibes. But royal watchers instantly saw it for what it was, a message. After Harry publicly torched his homeland and reignited royal tensions, Meghan responded, not with fire, but with a calculated display of domestic bliss. Sources close to Buckingham Palace reportedly viewed the post as a well-timed PR punch, designed to show that Meghan controlled the narrative, and Harry. But public image can only mask so much. Behind the scenes, Meghan's entire branding empire was starting to unravel. Meghan's new podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, was meant to be a comeback. Instead, it was another PR faceplant. She described dropping her kids off at school like it was space travel, gushing about doing normal things as if she had discovered fire. Critics called it unrelatable, tone-deaf, and manufactured feminism. Then came the comments about Harry. Meghan said he was obsessed with her and talks about her constantly, but she didn't mention love, or appreciation, or even gratitude. It came across cold and awkwardly self-obsessed. Meanwhile, her lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, now rumored to be renamed as Riven, continues to struggle with authenticity. With every misstep, Meghan looks less like a visionary entrepreneur and more like someone desperate to stay relevant. And yet, amid all the noise, one detail hit the royal family harder than anything else. It started with a poll. 7% of UK citizens now say it's time to strip Meghan and Harry of all royal titles, Duke and Duchess of Sussex included, and insiders claim that Prince William agrees. He's reportedly pushing behind closed doors for complete removal, not just HRH, but everything. Why? Because Meghan's repeated use of forbidden titles isn't just disrespectful. It's a direct violation of royal agreements and a potential legal liability. Even Thomas Markle Jr., Meghan's estranged brother, chimed in. In a new interview, he claimed, "Once the titles are gone, so is the marriage." That may sound dramatic, but the theory is gaining traction. Meghan's brand survives off royal relevance. Remove the titles, and she becomes just another celebrity with a lifestyle blog. But Harry wasn't done stirring the pot. In fact, his next comment may have permanently severed ties with the palace. During the BBC interview, Harry said something that shocked even his supporters. When asked about reconciling with his father, King Charles, Harry replied, "I don't know how long he has left." That was it. No empathy, no concern, just a blunt, borderline callous acknowledgement of his father's age and illness. Considering that King Charles is currently undergoing cancer treatment, the comment hit hard. Royal insiders described it as cruel. Others saw it as a deliberate attempt to humiliate the monarch, and Prince William reportedly livid. Not just at the comment, but at the cumulative disrespect, drama, and emotional stress his father has endured from Harry and Meghan over the last 4 years. But reconciliation may not even be an option, because legally, the palace is now bound to silence. Here's the twist few people understand. King Charles cannot legally speak to Harry right now. Why? Because Harry is actively suing the UK Home Office, which operates under the authority of the Crown. Any direct communication between the King and Harry could compromise the legal case, or be interpreted as interference, which means the most powerful man in Britain can't even pick up the phone to talk to his own son. Meanwhile, the pressure on the palace continues to build, stripping the Sussexes of their remaining titles, cutting off funding, revoking ceremonial privileges, even banning them from future royal events. One senior official reportedly said, "This isn't about revenge, it's about preservation." War. And with public opinion rapidly turning, the royals may soon act out of necessity, not emotion. So where does that leave us? Meghan's fake tear moment may have gone viral for all the wrong reasons. But in the eyes of the palace, it was just one more sign that she's not playing by the rules. From HRH misuse, to passive-aggressive Instagram posts, to a podcast critics say is a carefully engineered PR machine, Meghan has been skating on thin royal ice for years, but this time, the cracks are showing. Harry's comments about King Charles didn't help, neither did his legal battles with the Crown. And now, the royal family, particularly Prince William, appears to be ready to act. If they strip the Sussexes of their titles, it will be a point of no return. not just for Meghan's brand, but for her entire public identity. Because without the crown, there is no royal edge, no Duchess allure, no luxury leverage, no global mystique, just Meghan Markle. And for the first time, that might not be enough.